everyone, and welcome back to Poppy Seed Mini. Thank you for joining us for another fun episode. Today, we're going to show you how to make a fabulous pair of bib overalls for your dolls. So let's get crafting. To get the pattern, you can visit my blog at poppyseedmini.blogspot.com. The link will be in the description box below. And cut it out. The next thing you'll need to do is pick out some fabric. I've been making all of mine out of cotton quilting fabric. Once you have your fabric picked out, you need to find a coordinating thread color to go with it. And you don't want it to match exactly because you're going to want the thread details to stand out. This is the one piece that needs to be cut on a fold. So make sure that is placed on a fold and pin it down. If you don't know, the lines on the pattern are meant to represent the grain of the fabric. So when you're lining up your patterns, make sure all the lines are following the grain line. I like to pin all my pieces down before I start cutting to confirm I have enough space for everything. Do you guys have designated fabric scissors in your house? I always remember my mom yelling at us to not use the fabric scissors for anything other than fabric. And now, as a mom, I totally understand because I just had to go out and buy a new pair of scissors. But honestly, I don't think it was my kids who used the scissors. I think it was my husband. Your fabric should be folded when you've cut out all of these, so you're cutting 2 at a time. The only pieces you don't need to cut out of a double layer are the pocket and the belt. I probably should have picked a different color, but I don't know why. I'm really into green right now. I mean, everybody else is doing pink because of the Barbie movie, and here I am making green overalls. All right, everything's cut out, so we need to head upstairs to the sewing machine. You can, of course, hand sew this pattern, but it's going to take a lot longer, and I have a sewing machine, so I'm going to use it. So the first 2 pieces you're going to grab are the front of the pants and the pocket lining. Pin the lining on so that it's good side to good side. Now this is a little unhelpful since I'm using a fabric that is the same on both sides, but hopefully you understand what I mean. Then I use an 1/8 inch seam allowance to sew around the edge. After it's been sewn, you're going to clip around the edge. I also trim a little extra off. Like so. And then you're going to turn it and press it with an iron. Once it's been pressed, you can do the decorative stitching along the edge. Now I'm going to run 2 rows of stitches along the edge of this pocket. And I did change my stitch length to a smaller stitch length so it looks like a tinier stitch. Like so. Then you're going to take your pocket piece and pin it at the top of the pocket and on the side, like so. And then just stitch down on the very edge of the fabric. And that will hold the pocket in place. This is also when you'll want to add your extra decorative stitching for the front of the pants. I just kind of take my pattern and I put a pin in where I want to sew down to. Oh, and I also put a pin on top at the starting point, using my pattern as a guide. Looks a little bulky right now, but remember, we have our seam allowance here that's going to get folded in, like so. Once both sides are finished, you can pin them together and sew up the crotch. I use a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance for this part. Next, you're going to take your back pieces and pin one side to the side of the front of the pants. Again, I'm going to use a 1/4 inch seam allowance to sew the side seam. Press the side seams open. After I'm done pressing the side seam, I run a decorative stitch down the side. Like so. Press the hem of the pant leg up a 1/4 of an inch on both sides and sew the hems. The next thing you're going to grab is your belt. And you can just pin that along the top edge of the pants. I made the pattern slightly larger so it'll go over both edges. Don't worry about it, we'll just trim off any extra. And sew it down. Again, I'm using about a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. Press it up with your iron and then fold it back over the edge. It should be around a 1/4 to 3/8 inches thick. Like so, and then it's folded over the edges on the back. The next thing we're going to do is take our top piece and fold it so the right sides are together. And then sew up each side. I'm using a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance to do this. Before you turn it and press it, make sure to clip the corners. With your pocket, you're going to fold over the top a 1/4 of an inch on the back side. And then sew 2 lines of decorative stitching along the top. Like so. Turn your top right side out and then press the edges. Then you're going to take your pocket and you're going to fold in all the edges 1/8 of an inch all the way around. Once that's been pressed, you're going to pin it to the front of your top. And it's about 1/4 of an inch to 3/8 from the top edge. Now I'm just going to run a stitch around the whole pocket. This is one of those moments to take your time and make sure that you're getting the right edging. The next thing we're going to do is pin our front to the pants. So you want to make sure that pocket is center right above that center line. And it should line up nicely with the back side as well. Then what I'm going to do is run a decorative stitch across the top and the bottom of the belt. Like so. Then I trim off the extra fabric from the belt. And it's also a great idea to run a little fray check along this edge and let that dry before continuing to sew. I trim and fray check both sides. Next, you're going to fold the back sides together, and we're just going to sew up the back crotch. From here to here. Don't sew this part. Make sure to do a back stitch so that folds really well. And this is about 1/4 of an inch seam allowance on this one. Then you're going to open it up and sew from the hem of one leg all the way around to the other side. I always pin the crotch so I know it lines up. Then you're going to turn it right side out. And we're getting there, almost finished. For the straps, you're going to take them and fold the edges in 1/8 of an inch on either side. Pressing that down. And then you're going to fold that in half and press that down. With the straps, you'll sew a decorative edge on both sides of the strap. Just like this. To make the little overall buckles, I included a little pattern on our printable, and I'm using a large jump ring. Now, I take and grab the center of the jump ring with a jewelry pliers, and then I take a second pliers and pinch it. Continue to pinch it in until you've got that bottom shape, like so. Then I fan out the sides. And the jewelry pliers probably works better for this. Okay, kind of like so. Might need to pinch in the center again. There you go. Now, I'm going to curve this upper part back around. And the other side. And like I said, you might need a second pair of pliers just to hold on to it. And hopefully not destroy it while you're trying to make it. You may just have to sit and work at it for a while before you get the right shape. And depending on the size of your jump ring, it may not be exactly like the pattern. That's just more of a guideline. Now what I'm doing here is just trying to get it completely flat. And it's going to turn out something like so. So see, it's not perfect. This was just a guide, and this is how mine turned out. The hardest part about all this is you got to make two, then match. But you can do it. If you're feeling like, no, this is like super beyond my abilities, on this one that I made for my daughter, I just used little decorative belt buckles that look like so. So I'll add that link in the description box below as well. And it comes in all these fun colors. If you are choosing to make your own buckles, the other thing I use is these little gold buttons, which I'll add the link in the description box. So the next thing I do is slip my straps onto my buckles. And then I sew across it. Then I trim off the extra and fray check it. Okay, the next thing we're gonna do is hand sew on the straps. So first, I sew on the buckle part. And I come back through and sew on the button. I was so excited when Mom found these buttons. They've been so fun to work with. Don't forget, I put the link in the description box below. And there's more than just gold. There's other colors as well. This is also a great moment to add extra details. I like to take my fingernail art pieces and use them as little studs on the pants. I have a little of my Glossy accents glue in here. I don't know why, but it seems to work great on fabric, so I like using it here too. This is also a great time to have a little tweezers at hand, because little guys are tiny. I also like to add them down by the pockets. I cut a little patch out of ribbon and fray checked it so that the edges won't fray. And I'm gonna glue that on as well, just to add some more detail. That's what it's all about. If you can add the little extra details, it really makes it. The next thing I do is I put it on the doll, because I want to make sure that I get the backing all right. Oh, take the pin off. All right. We want her straps to sit where they're supposed to sit on the front and the back. So I put it on, and then I pin the back where I would want a snap. And then I push the straps under the belt and pin those down in place. And check to make sure everything looks good on the front. Sew down the straps. Sew in a snap or Velcro in the back. I prefer snaps. I've just always thought they looked a little more classy than Velcro. I don't know why. Probably because when my mom used to make us stuff, she would use snaps. And I really think Velcro can be very destructive on your other garments. It catches and it can pull, and I don't know, it's not my favorite. So snap that together, and there we go. Oh my gosh, you guys, don't the girls look great? Thank you everyone for joining us for this episode of Poppy Seed Mini. I hope you really enjoyed it, and let me know if you want more sewing videos like this one. I hope you'll like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have fun crafting. And don't forget to check out some of our other videos.